Welcome back to the Morning Movement Show. I'm your host, Sarah Joy Gaines. I'm so grateful you're here. And I'm so grateful we have Alicia Jamison with us today.
That's right.
So it's Coach Alicia, Professor Jamison.
Yes, ma'am.
To be totally clear.
Yes.
Alicia is a coach, a trainer, a professor here in New York City. We're so grateful to have you here to talk all things goodness, fitness.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
So glad to be here. Yes.
So I want to ask you first, what's your first memory of movement?
Yes, that is correct. Let's see. And you told me to think about this. I remember. Yes. My first memory of movement was I was pretty young. I was at the house I grew up in Arizona. I was sitting on top of our pool, and we were having like some sort of family gathering, and I started singing. I was like too young, but I started singing the song like "It's getting hot in here, so take off all your clothes," and I'm dancing, and I'm like in second or third grade. Like, it's not, I should not be singing that song, but I was getting into it, and then I had to talk with my parents afterwards. So yeah, dancing has always been so very deep in my journey.
I love that. I resonate strongly with that, and also with looking back on childhood and being like, why was I singing that?
Yeah,
I think I listened to way too much Eminem in elementary school.
I know.
And I'm like, how did that impact my subconscious?
Exactly, yeah. I had two older brothers, so I was like, I never did like Disney Channel. I was straight to MTV.
Wow.
Very early on, MTV and Comedy Central. So like, yeah, that was the wave. Yeah.
Amazing. And so, I mean, love of dance. We got to dance a little bit this morning. How you feeling?
Oh my God, so good. How do I feel right now, or dance?
Well,
both.
Either.
I feel so good. I'm glad we warmed up with the movement, because that really kind of gets my head in the right space.
Totally.
So a little bit of movement, and then I get to calm down, get a little sophisticated, talk to y'all. Yeah, yes ma'am.
It really does. Yeah. It really does make a difference of just like movement before anything.
Yeah, for real. And I don't think we talk about the mental clarity that comes with exercise and movement. That is for me, that's the most powerful thing that exercise can provide. It can provide phenomenal, all sorts of really, really great things. But the mental clarity is pretty dope.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, it makes me think of, I was sharing this with you a little bit earlier. You are a professor of exercise physiology, which I am now also, thanks to you.
Yes, ma'am.
And something that's been so amazing for me in teaching exercise physiology is, everything that I teach in movement is all about movement being a tool to understand the power and the wisdom of the body, and moving beyond what the body looks like. And so teaching exercise physiology has been such this beautiful deep dive into, look at all of these systems that are happening on a moment-to-moment basis to keep this body here and functioning. And I think that just begets gratitude and appreciation.
Oh, 100%. 100%. There are so many things going on in our bodies. There's so many moving parts. The body is a phenomenal thing. But there's still so much to learn about how our body works. Yeah. But it's never just one thing. It's many facets moving. Your endocrine system, your hormones making a play. That changes everything. Particularly if you're going through menopause, perimenopausal. That changes everything. But your bone strength and your muscles working and your nervous system, they all work at the same time. If your nervous system is shot, if you're super stressed out, or you've trained really hard, everything is shot.
Right.
Nothing works if your nervous system is shot in sort of situation. So yeah.
Well, so how did you get to this point where you're teaching exercise physiology, you're training and coaching all around New York City and beyond, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, how did you get to this point?
Yeah, great question. Ooh, where to start? I was an athlete growing up.
Okay.
I played on a very like high level team. We traveled every weekend.
What was your sport?
I played soccer, right?
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
soccer. I was a soccer player. Yes.
Any soccer
yeah,
players?
any soccer kicking around? That's okay. That's okay. It's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I went to one soccer. I was going to say rehearsal. This is
That's how you know. Yeah, so rehearsal versus a
And then I
practice.
left.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm going back to theater.
I love that. Yeah, so I started
ahead.
playing soccer at a really young age. Because we were on like a national team, we were weight training early on. I started weight training when I was in 6th grade.
Cool.
Yeah, and I got really good at it, and I loved it. And I realized, wait, what was the question? We're going in.
just
how
like,
did I
how'd
get
you
here?
get- yeah,
right. No,
how'd you get
I
to
can
that
make it
point?
long. I should make this long story short. How did I get here? And then so that's how I got into fitness and exercise.
Okay.
Then I moved to New York City to go to school. I went to NYU to study nutrition.
Cool.
During that time, I needed a job and I wanted a free gym membership. So I was like, why don't I work at a gym? Why do I work at a gym and get those memberships? And I started working at Body Space Fitness. That's on 14th Street in Union Square.
Nice, okay.
It's changed my whole perspective on exercise. Before, I actually hated exercise because exercise was my job as a soccer player, and they weren't even paying me. So, so it felt like a drag. But now I get to exercise on my own right for myself. So once I kind of changed my relationship with exercise, I decided to really dive deep into it. So initially, I was like pre-med. I was thinking about going to med school. My mom's a doctor. My great-grandmother, godmother, like a lot of doctors in the family. I wanted to go that route. But then the pandemic happened. And that was my senior year of college. And that's when I was like, is this the direction I want to take? I like exercise and hyping people up, and coaching gives me so much joy. There's probably something deeper here. So I decided to move away from medicine. I decided to get my graduate degree in exercise physiology. At which point I met but that was mainly virtual in the beginning of my beginning time because it was COVID time.
Right.
But I really went out of my way to still try to make friends. And like even though we were in a Zoom, like maybe I'd message them. I was like, why don't we hop on a Zoom on our own time? And like we can study together sort of situation. And that's when I met Anne-Marie. You remember? Yeah, Anne-Marie, who's the group fitness vice president. She works at Chelsea Piers. She crushes it. Brooklyn College had reached out to her to try to have her teach the class, but she was just too busy. So she pushed my resume forward.
Amazing.
Which was really huge. And I had just like graduated from grad school like a week beforehand. I was still submitting my final papers as I got this job offer. So it felt I was like dumbfounded. I was like I want this offer, but I was like, am I qualified? I've never taught before. Like this, like, am I ready for this?
Right.
I was. Honestly, I was. I didn't feel like I was until I stepped on to my first lecture.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh no, I was born to do this thing. Yeah. So I
think we got a taste of that when we had
Just a
you
little
up on
taste,
there.
yeah.
I mean, just like your energy. Yeah. Round of
Yeah,
applause for that, honestly. It's just, yeah.
I appreciate it.
It's a skill for
Yeah.
sure. And I mean, I felt this way. What I'm hearing from you, right, of like the sense of, well, was I ready for it? Well, I guess I was ready for it because it was happening.
Right.
And I don't know, I find in my life that there are often these things that are like so clearly divinely orchestrated that you're like, well, it's not even up to me. Like this is just what's happening despite anything. And I felt that way when I met you. And so it's just this like very beautiful means of like there is something greater that is pushing me, whether that's happening through somebody else giving me an opportunity, which is also the beauty of New York and all the people you get to connect with. Absolutely. And also following, what I heard from you is following your joy of being like, oh, coaching, like it feels like there's something there.
Oh yeah. I think one of the real big things, like in order to like find your calling, I think everybody has a calling. You got to think about the things that bring you the most joy.
Yeah.
and the things that you're strongest at. Like we all have strengths, we all have weaknesses, but we all have strengths.
Yeah.
So if you can identify those strengths, but take some time, you got to reflect. You got to reflect on those things. I just feel very lucky that I was reflecting on those things very early in life.
Totally.
So yeah, by the time I was 19, or maybe by the time I was 20, 21, that's when I knew inspiring others was so deep in my core. I love hyping people up. If I can bring a smile onto somebody's face, it brings 10 times a smile back to mine. If I can make people realize their greatness, like not even just like, oh, Alicia makes me feel like I can do anything. No, I make you realize you can do anything. Like that's a really powerful. I'm giving myself chills. I really that sensation goes so crazy to me, and that's how I know I'm supposed to be doing this.
Absolutely.
I put this over everything. So yeah, yes.
Well, you shared with me a story that was also seemed like this like redirection of something greater happening, because you said that you were an athlete and you were maybe going to go to school, I think.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit. I'm going to drop that for you to share.
Thank you. Yeah, that's a huge one. So I was an athlete. I played on a very, very high level soccer team. And it's like ECNL, it's a national league, and you typically are getting recruited for college, and you go to college or to play your sport. I was recruited by the Air Force Academy. Right. Yes. Yes. Very different. Very different than New York City. But I, in my senior year of high school, I had a new coach, a new club coach that didn't really love me, didn't really support me, which is okay. But he spoke poorly of me to my new coach. And it happens. Honestly, it was a huge blessing, and I was torn up about it in the beginning because I lost my opportunity to play sports in college. Wow. But I was very clearly not meant to go to the Air Force Academy. That would have been my creativity probably would have been a little dampened. But instead, I decided to come to New York University. At which point, and that's when I kind of made. So that was my first start of like, I'm going to reflect and figure out what am I about? What is my identity? While I was moving apartments, because it's New York, you move apartments every year. It's horrible. But while I was moving apartments, I saw an old plaque that I had from high school. Yeah. Right. And the plaque, it was, I got an award. It was most inspirational player. And
this was in high school?
This was in high school, yeah. And when I had gotten that award, I was actually a little bummed out because because I was the leading scorer that year. I was like, I'm gonna get MVP. I know I'm gonna get MVP this year. And I didn't. I said, what in the word? That is not how I thought I did my part, but that's okay. That's okay. The person that got MVP definitely deserved it, but I got most inspirational. And again, at that time, it was a little bit of a bummer, but when I looked at it earlier this year, I was like, oh, I've been inspiring people since day one. This is something that is deep within me. So I was like, yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And so whether I'm inspiring people through exercise or through learning or through being able to reflect on mental well-being or spiritual well-being, it just brings me so much joy and happiness to do that. So that it feels, I have multiple, I keep talking with my hands. I have multiple different facets of how I can inspire others. So I just feel lucky.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Can we give it up? Most inspirational. I'd say yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
And so what I'm so curious to know is when you were talking about, you helping people realize their own greatness.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I kept getting like the visual of like a shovel and carving the way for folks to kind of come into contact with that. How would you describe, how do you do that? Like,
Sure.
what's your process? What's your thought process of that?
Sure. Yeah, it's a tough one because it's not direct. It's not like you just say, "Hey, you're great," and people just all of a sudden believe
God,
it. Yeah, you have to like when you're working with a client, you have to find the things that you like about them. Make sure to tell them what, and it might be as simple as, "I love your outfit. Like you dress yourself appropriately today. Let's go."
Can I tell you, I'd like probably minimum 5 times a day.
Yeah.
I compliment just strangers on the
Yes,
street of like, oh,
exactly.
love your earrings, love your
Yeah,
nails. You know, it's
yes.
just like a little, doop, little drop of
here's-
joy.
Yeah, a little drop of joy. I love it. Yes, a little drop of joy. Yeah, so like I give them something that, like, I give them a genuine compliment. But then, particularly as either if it's exercise or it's my student, I praise the little things like crazy. And I spend more time on praising the things that you did well, and I spend less time criticizing the things that you did not do well. So for a lot of my clients, like, weight loss is a goal for them.
Sure.
However, like I have many women with PCOS, and PCOS it makes it really hard to lose weight in that situation.
Right.
It can be so mentally defeating to go on that process, but there are so many ways to collect W's or collect wins that are not weight loss. So every time somebody, maybe they were doing 10 pounds overhead, but now they're doing 12 and a half pounds overhead, let's freaking go. High fives, you're doing it.
Right.
Maybe you didn't go up in weight, but you've shown up consistently twice a week, every week for the last 3 months.
Right.
Let's go, you're doing the right thing,
Totally.
sort of situation. So there's always something you can praise. And if you want to influence others for them to like truly believe in what you are saying, you have to believe in them, and
Right.
you have to, like, I don't know, like, how do I describe this? It's like, you have not only, so you identify the greatness in them, and then just flip it and make sure you show it to them. And
Like,
that
be a mirror.
put a bit of a mirror.
Yeah.
Put a bit of a mirror, but it's clouded. There's only bright spots. There's
Right.
no
Freshly cleaned
freshly
mirror.
clean
Yeah.
mirror. You're glowing. There's like almost like a filter on it or something like that, right? Yeah. So that's how I would say. That's how I bring out greatness. I
Love
focus
that.
on the strengths. I put the criticism to the side.
Totally.
Yeah.
It also makes me think of how much of benefit it would be if we did that more to our
Oh,
own
yeah.
selves.
Oh, yeah.
Of like praising the little things, recognizing also too, I think you made a great point of like, there are different seasons of our lives in which there are different things to be praised. It's
Right.
not always going
Right.
to be that you're rising and increasing. It can be just, well, today it's consistency, or
Right.
today it's actually rest, and today it's listening into my body and choosing not to do something.
Right. Yes. Yeah. Sometimes like I'll have a client that like might cancel last minute and be like so apologetic. I'm like, I'm just too tired. I can't do it. And there's nothing to apologize for. As long as you are being honest with yourself that it's because your body is tired, maybe you haven't had enough sleep, your kids have been keeping you up, what have you.
Right.
That's a W. Even though you skip the workout, you did the next step for your body to progress, because then the next workout is going to be even better.
Totally. Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because there are so many misconceptions and these ideals about fitness and always grinding and
Yeah.
always just,
Yeah.
again, always like needing to excel and as a professor and student also of exercise physiology, right? Like, how do you look at fitness holistically?
Yeah.
And maybe where we're sort of missing the mark and can kind of zero in for like true growth and
Yeah.
sustainable wellness.
Yeah, absolutely. Growth and wellness comes through a balance. You can work hard. I do want everyone to work hard, but you can't work hard all day forever.
Right.
You have to pause. You have to rest.
Right.
If you have a goal of muscle gain, fat loss, weight loss, bone mineral density increasing, anything of that nature, it does not happen during the workout. All those things happen while you're asleep and resting. And if you do not sleep, if you do not rest, then you've wasted your workout. Your workout, you're not going to get all your gains. You're not going to get all your gains.
Professor Gaines.
Yeah, Professor Gaines. Oh, that is so sick.
I know.
I haven't said that yet. Professor Gaines is so, oh my gosh. That's exciting. That's exciting. That is so sick. Professor Gaines. Anyway, sorry. That's my ADHD. We were talking about
resting. We need to sleep.
Yes, you have to sleep.
Missed.
You have to sleep. So it's finding that balance. People think that I train all day, every day. They think that I'm training every day a week. Guess what, y'all? I train 2 to 3 times a week maximum. That's it. And it takes me a long way. Now I work in the fitness industry, so obviously I'm moving around. My general physical activity is much higher than the average person. Oh my God, my step count goes crazy. Yeah, because I work multiple jobs, so I'm popping around.
Yeah,
most people are trying to get to 10,000 steps a day. I'm anywhere from 20 to 40,000 steps a day.
Wow.
So yeah.
Anybody rivaling that in the audience?
Yeah, unless you stand for work, yeah, it's hard to beat that.
See, my thing is I don't have an Apple Watch or anything, so I'm like, I feel like I have so many more steps than what my little phone tells me.
Oh, exactly, right.
And I want to know, but I don't want to know that bad to like invest in technology. To know about.
I have the Whoop, and the Whoop just started doing the steps.
That's right.
They it's new to them, and like once I got that, I was like, oh my God, this is great. This is why I'm so tired all the time. It's like I go home and just immediately fall out. So you gotta balance. You gotta rest. That is how you're gonna see the most success.
Yeah.
And then also building that consistency. I think if you build the habit of exercise, you will never have to fight to get into the gym ever again.
Right.
And especially on those days when you really, really don't want to and you're super, super tired, I'm drained. It is totally okay to, I was going to say half booty it. I don't know if we're allowed to cuss.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, you're allowed to half-ass it. You're totally, you're allowed to half-ass it. If you are so drained, go to the gym. You can be at the gym, 5-minute stretch. If you want to go home, go home. That's totally fine, because the more often you practice getting yourself into the gym, maybe you didn't get a good workout that day, but that's fine. You're building the mental model like, this is what I do.
Right.
This is the habit. This is the person that I am. You're building your character around the gym a little bit. And that takes time. A lot of times we say like, oh, habits are built in 18 days, or you do something for 21 days and you have a new habit.
Right.
You kidding me? I can't tell you how many things that I've done for 21 days and have never done again.
Right.
It takes like 60 to 90 days of doing it every day, or doing it consistently. You don't have to go to the gym every day. Nobody has to go to the gym every day.
Right.
But doing it consistently every Monday, Wednesday, Friday sort of situation for it to be set in. And then you don't have to think about it for the rest of your life. Which is so good. It just happens naturally. Yeah.
Right. And even if it's not the gym, maybe it's like there's a dedicated space in your home, or it's going to the park and taking a walk, but like whatever that thing is. You know, it also, I want to circle back. When you started sharing your own story, you had mentioned that, you know, fitness was first this thing that like you sort of somewhat, I don't know if you used the word dread, but then it became something that you loved.
Yes.
And so I'm curious if you could just share a little bit of what was that shift and transition? Yeah,
that's a good question. Well, I remember, what is that shift and transition? So I remember when I stopped playing soccer and I started doing functional resistance training.
Okay. Which would mean what?
It's resistance training through compound movements. So like overhead presses or squats or deadlifts, but it's no machines. Okay. So you don't use any machines. It's all like free movement. You typically get the strongest and most, actually I wouldn't say necessarily strong. You get the most stable and the most carryover to life, to your daily activities through functional resistance training.
Right.
And functional resistance training is also phenomenal for chronic pains. So I have patellar tendonitis, or I had patellar tendonitis. Actually, I probably still do have it, but it doesn't. My knees would bother me always. Both of my knees would be destroyed every soccer game, every time I played. But then when I went to Body Space and I started doing functional training, my knees stopped hurting. And I didn't even notice it. All of a sudden, I was like, wait, my knees haven't been bothering me.
Right.
And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. I was like, I'll do that. So having pain relief as a benefit to exercise, that was a huge shift. Creating the community that comes with exercise.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh my God, my best friends are all in the gym.
Yeah.
They're all in the gym.
Yeah.
Some of them in the classrooms, but most of them are in the gym. So creating a community around it, and then choosing to have fun.
Yeah.
Yo, fun while you're training is so dope. Of course, are you gonna get the absolute most muscle gains versus if you were hard, no music, I'm lifting, hoodie on, sort of situation. That's great. I do that too. There is a time and place for that. Everybody has to have that time for sure. But exercise does not have to be sufferable.
No.
You absolutely can enjoy it. It don't gotta be sufferable, y'all. Exercise can be sensational.
Yes,
all right?
that's right.
It really can. It really can. So once I made that shift and started having fun with it, once I started dancing while I was exercising.
Dancing in the midst of in between sets.
100%.
Honestly, all I do now is just go to the gym and dance
around. Yeah.
I'm maybe I pick up a weight.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If you ever take one of my group fitness classes, I'm shaking booty. I'm shaking ass all day. I'm and if there's a box for me to step onto,
for sure.
I'm on top of that box, twerking, and it's going to inspire you to keep moving. You're thinking oh, she's just dancing. No, the booty shaking keeps you lifting. I promise.
Absolutely.
It does.
Scientifically
it's
proven.
scientifically proven.
Yeah.
I am a professor, so. Yeah.
Oh, well, Alicia, this has been such a complete and total joy.
Yeah.
I want to turn it over to our audience to ask a quick question.
A lot of possible myths, rumors, whatever you want to call it, going around regarding diet culture.
Sure.
And something that I see a lot of is people saying the best way, or sometimes people are even saying the only way to lose weight is to cut carbs. I, of course, have my own opinion on this, but I would like to know from a professional standpoint if you could prove or debunk that rumor that's been going around.
That's
Prove
really,
or debunk. Prove or debunk.
What? Prove or debunk. Great. Allow me. So I will. Yes, we're gonna debunk it. It is a method. You absolutely can lose weight by cutting carbs. But the idea of that is that carbs are our largest portion of our calories. Carbs are supposed to be anywhere from 45 to 65% of your daily calories. The idea of losing weight, you have to have a caloric deficit. Well, that's actually not true necessarily. But more often than not, when you need to lose weight, you have to have a caloric deficit for a period. You should never be at a caloric deficit always, which is a common issue for us ladies. Most of my female clients have been at a caloric deficit their entire lives.
Right. That's a whole other conversation.
That's a whole other conversation. A simple way to get into a caloric deficit is just completely eliminate one of the macronutrients, carbohydrates, protein, and fats. You definitely don't want to eliminate protein. That's, everybody's favorite. Well, actually, every coach's favorite, I'll say, because most people's favorite is carbs. So it's simple to cut calories by completely eliminating carbs. But carbs are our number one fuel source. Carbs is directly associated with our mood. Has anybody been upset after a bowl of pasta? Nope. Yeah, you normally have a smile on your face after a bowl of pasta. We always feel better after we have carbs in our system because it's our body's number one fuel source. Our brain can only consume carbs. Even if you go on the ketogenic diet and you're only eating fats and proteins, your body is going to go through what's called gluconeogenesis, which I know you're familiar with, where it creates new carbohydrates from the fat. From non-glucose sources. I know that's right. Come on, let's go, Professor. So it's going to take, and it's not going to take the fat. And actually, it's going to take your amino acids. It's going to take your protein sources. It's going to take, which is your muscle. It's going to take from your muscle to create carbs for your brain to work. And then all of a sudden, you're like, oh my God, I should be gaining muscle and losing fat, but you're not. if that's why I'm also not a huge fan of the ketogenic diet unless you're super strict on it. Unless you're super strict on it.
Now, if you were to sum it up in 10 seconds, because we're going to get cut off here in just a moment. We're already at time.
Yeah, I can't believe. Yeah.
Carbohydrates, no need to cut them.
Don't cut them. Keep them in your life. Keep them in your life. You will love it forever. Yeah.
And where can folks find you?
You can find me on Instagram at @coach_Alicia J. Honestly, keep that there. And you can find everything else after that through my Instagram.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Alicia. A total pleasure and joy. I can't believe our time has come to a close so quickly. Please give it up for Alicia one more time. Thank you so much. And I'm Sarah Joy Gaines. I am your host. This is the Morning Movement Show. See you next week. Bye, y'all.